don't worry, no spoilers. We'll tell you when there's spoilers coming.
Oh, yeah.
We'll give a big old spoiler warning. Yeah.
We'll give a big old spoiler warning. Jay, begin.
Yes.
What did you think we thought of this show that we watched?
That's what we were supposed to do first. I think Cole liked it, but he didn't like it as much as he thought he would. I think he loved the direction, and he loved the technical side of it. But I don't think he liked the actual execution of it.
I'm so sorry for our podcast listeners. You just heard me absolutely lose my mind. Michael died for a moment.
The funny part is they would never have known if you didn't.
No,
I muted my mic because I chugged water, and then you know when you get like that weird feeling in the back of your throat that you're like gonna cough. I was like, I gotta.
Yeah. He did a literal spit take.
Jay thinks that you enjoyed it, but it didn't enjoy it as much as you might have thought, eh?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And then what does Jay think about me?
Mike, I think that I don't think Mike liked it that much. I think he might have thought it was a little boring. A bit slow. And just not his thing overall.
I like watching when we're predicting the thoughts. We're all just like watching the person we're talking about's face for any kind of like clues.
Yeah.
And we could, Michael, who has the best poker face here for sure.
Michael, give us clues.
All right. I think that Jay, he probably thought it was okay. You know what I mean? Like, I don't think he thought it was anything like it wasn't his favorite thing to watch. It didn't really like move him to tears at any point, except for maybe at the end, but we'll get there. And I just think overall he was like, I can appreciate it for being like a good show, but it's just not his thing. And then Cole, I think, loved this show. I think this is probably, it's not gonna be like top 10, but like a solid top 30. You know what I mean? Like it's gonna be in like the top tier for a while to come, and it's just gonna be like one that he thinks back and is like, I enjoy that, and he might watch an episode here or there, just going back to it. Now, Cole, what did you think about Joseph and I?
I think, frankly, both of you didn't like this show. Frankly. I think Jay was maybe a little higher on it because, okay, hold on. I'm going to come at this
Jay's putting on his best, like, I am stone face man now.
I'm going to come at this more from Michael. I know Michael. Michael, I've been friends with you for a long, long time.
This guy.
You are not the most, like, director savvy person in the world.
What are you trying to say?
I think Jay probably liked this more than Mike did. But yeah, I think you guys were both, this is probably the lowest of the shows that we've watched from you two.
Even less than Crest of the Stars for me?
Did you not like Crest of the Stars?
Well, it was not my thing. I would say that.
Okay. I can't remember. Do we reveal what we thought?
I think it becomes evident. I don't know. I'll say it. I enjoyed this show. I thought it was okay. I didn't think it was, like you said, I don't think it's the best thing I've ever seen, but I can like appreciate it. Kind of basically what I said about Jay is kind of just true about me in this one. I thought it was good. I don't think it's like the best thing I've ever seen, if that makes sense. But it's very good as like I like watching things where you can kind of like get a sense of what's to come. Like with this, you're watching it and it's like you can clearly see like how they turned this into Monogatari and stuff.
Monogatari came first.
Yeah, Monogatari
Did it really?
was
I thought this
first.
came out in 2012.
Yeah, Monogatari came out in like 2010 or something.
Oh my goodness, never mind then.
Like 05, 06 or something.
Well then, I have no idea what I'm talking about. Maybe one of you guys should talk.
Jay, what did you think?
So I'm a bit of a mixed bag on this show because, like, I do like the direction on this show, and I think that it was a well-directed show. But at the same time, I'm not sure if the direction and the style of direction that it took really serviced the subject matter that this show covered. And like the entire time I was watching the show, I was trying to figure out whether it matched how the story of the manga played out.
Have you read this manga?
I haven't read the manga, but
okay.
Just like from watching the anime, I was trying to think like if this was done as like just like a typical slice of life show, would this be better? And because I haven't read the manga, I don't have an answer to that, but it was a question that kept coming up in my mind.
Has Cole read this manga?
I've seen bits and pieces of this manga.
Okay.
Now for my turn. I enjoyed it, but I think there are definitely some flaws with it. I think the show draws you in with style. Like the first few episodes are kind of the definition of style over substance.
Mm-hmm.
But then I think it finds its footing like kind of midway through, and I feel like that's when it, like, as the show went on, I felt like it got better and better.
Yeah,
I'd agree with that.
I get that.
So
it's kind of where I'm at. So in the end, like taking it in on as a whole, I liked it.
It's not bad by any means, right?
No,
like,
I don't think it was bad.
Any of us thought this was bad, but
no,
I don't think I don't think when you compare it to other stuff, it really is like, it's not going to change your worldview or anything. I don't know if I agree with what Jay said about the style of like Shaft hurting the subject material. I don't think I agree with that, because I think a lot of like the humor and stuff that it went for and like the off the wall vibes, I feel like I don't know if it was just because Shaft did it, but I just felt like it was a good fit. I don't know.
And the other thing too is I think the show makes you think that this is just a slice of life, but it kind of isn't. Like
it kind of isn't. No,
it kind of isn't.
It gets like off the rails.
By the end, it does get a bit wild. That is fair.
And the further off the rails it goes, the better it gets.
Yeah. No, like when it was like kind of more Monogatari-esque. It's not. I can't even say storytelling, because like there's no real like plot. But like when.
There kind of is, but it's not really that important.
Yeah,
if that makes sense.
Like in the overall like package of the narrative, I guess. When it gets to like the supernatural stuff, that's when this direction actually does fit it.
Mm-hmm.
But when
where
it
gets like
kinda,
really off the wall,
yeah. But for me, it was like when it did that like slice of life thing. At the cafe, that was kind of like when I was questioning it a bit more.
Yeah, I think one thing that none of us questioned though is probably how good the OP is for this show.
Oh, I love it. I love this OP. I told you guys this before off air, but now I'll say it on air. The OP is by Seiya. Oh shoot! I wish I had the name right in front of me. Quick!
Seiya Higuchi. I don't know. I'm just making stuff up.
I was quick. Stall for me. I'm sorry. Maya Sakamoto. She is also known as the seiyuu for Shinobu in Monogatari.
Yes, you did say that.
Yeah, and she's a very well respected seiyuu, and she was a good singer before that.
Is she in this show?
I didn't know that.
As a voice actor? No? Oh, that's strange.
Yeah, like she's just a singer. She also sung one of the OPs for Cardcaptor Sakura in the 90s. Okay. Like she's an accomplished singer. And this OP is Shaft to a T. They are the king of OPs.
Yeah, wow. I don't know about, we can debate that on another episode, but
we can, but be prepared to be annihilated.
I do like how like dynamic it is, and I'm a sucker for like an OP that's just like groovy and like dancing and singing and stuff. Mm-hmm. And like, yeah, that's what this is. It's just pure groove. The only thing I didn't really like about it is I didn't really think the song was fantastic, which I know Cole was just talking about how much he loved the song. I didn't love it. I didn't think it was that great.
It's so jazzy. It's so cool.
For me, I thought that the song fit the show and the vibe that the show was trying to pass off. But I wouldn't, like I said about what was the show I was talking about? Where I wouldn't add it to my any playlist or anything.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's
No, this is definitely
subjective.
not. I would. Just, You're not even Coles. I don't think is adding this to an Annie playlist, right?
It's on my playlist.
Is it actually?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Then never mind.
Yeah. No,
He's a simp. He's a simp.
It definitely
it's a good song. It's a good song.
That definitely is a subjective thing, but yeah, like the visuals and visually, it is a good OP.
Yeah.
But the song, not personally my cup of tea.
Sure.
Yeah,
Sure.
it's kind of like an inferior version of the song, the OP that we nominated to our Annie Songs playlist of Flyers by Radio for the Death Parade OP. No, you don't think so?
That's shots fired. You guys might agree with that, but I mean,
No,
I
honestly,
like this song a lot.
I don't
like a lot.
I don't really compare it to Flyers.
I get
by
where
Radio.
Mike's coming
it
from.
seems like it's its own thing.
Oh yeah, but it's just like basically dancing and stuff.
Yeah,
Sure.
sure.
It does have like one of the things that I think is like the best part of the show objectively, and like probably for me is the animation is just like great. 'Cause Shaft just the direction and animation is what makes Shaft shine, and I don't think this show would even be maybe even worth watching without that, if that makes sense. And you can see that in this OP too.
It's definitely a plus. But we're starting to go down the animation and visuals.
Yeah, we have one more thing to talk about, don't we?
We do, and that would be the ED.
Yes. I enjoyed the ED for this show. It's kind of in the same camp as the OP, where I thought the ED was good, but like it's not making any playlists and stuff. And after I saw the episode where the ED really comes like full picture, which we'll talk about in the spoiler section after there, but like after that point I appreciated it even more. But I found myself actually like I actually watched the ED more than I watched the OP actually for this show, which is a strange thing to say, I think.
Yeah, I'm kind of in the same camp as you, Mike, where I preferred the ED by the end than to the OP.
It's weird though, because like if you just played both of them for me and I didn't know anything about the show, I'd say the first one, the OP, was better. But like I ended up watching the ED more than I watched the OP.
Yeah.
Just strange.
I love the ED.
It's just fun.
It just screams like, I don't know, like it's just like off the wall. Like they're all saying, like the lyrics in the songs are just about themselves.
Yeah.
It
seems like a high school band writing and producing a music video.
Yeah.
They did a good job capturing the essence of the characters in this show, right?
Yeah, they're just goofy.
Yeah.
Just goofy like, girls having goofy weird times.
There's like one line in there where they say something about like, if you're constipated, you'll have a bad pregnancy or something like that. And I'm like, what does that have to do with anything? Like, why is that in here?
I guess because it rhymed. It rhymed with what they were saying. Yeah. I don't know. It's
wild.
Good.
It's a wild show.
It's a wild ride. Yeah.
It just felt like it. It just felt like the ED to this show.
Yeah,
like, you know?
That's a good way to put it. Like Jay always says, we're like, it's the best ED for this show, I think.
Yeah, it's the best as the town moves ED.
Yeah.
Okay, now we can just go back into visuals, which I think is definitely like the strong point of this show.
For sure.
It's almost, I'd say, other than if you're like Cole and you get a big kick out of like characters like the main girl in this show, I'd say it's the reason to watch this show, is just to get some Shafty and goodness.
Yeah.
Like the direction in it is, the head tilts and the like weird lighting on characters to like dramatize something
like
happening.
Even like the weird framing of like scale. Like there was one shot of like the classroom when the math teacher's like teaching the main girl, and like the classroom looks huge with like the desks on each side. And just like a giant space in the middle, like
Shaft is like, they remind me of like Wes Anderson or something. The way that they like frame their shots, like it's just lots of like empty space and like just still.
Yeah,
but like also it's super dynamic at the same time. Like they're constantly doing like panning shots up characters to their faces, and the way the characters turn to the cameras, head tilts and stuff like that.
Or like the way it like cuts between different shots. It even had like that Monogatari thing where like when it changes shots, it'll have like that camera snapshot sound. Every time it changes shots.
here's one thing that probably will also lend into it. It is Shaft who did it, but it is the director of Bake Monogatari, all the Monogataris, Nisekoi, Madoka Magica, Sangatsu no Lion.
I was gonna lead into that. I think it's more so the talents of Akiyuki Shinbo than anything.
Yeah. That really I would love to see a live action movie directed by this guy. Like,
he's just got such a great eye for like shots.
I mean, and it's not just him. Like, I think he kind of lended his vision to Shaft, and a lot of those other directors that split off from Shaft still do that same stuff. Like the director for Call of the Night, or the director for the Vanitas one, the one that Jay likes.
Case Study Vanitas.
Mm-hmm. Like, those are three different people. No, those are three different people.
Oh, is it?
Yeah, but they all have like.
I thought
they were all from Shaft.
Yeah.
Jay's
so it's like a combined. Yeah, he's like, I cannot believe I was wrong. But it's cool when you see like they all come together to have like this sweet vision, and it just like pays off, and you can see it, and it's unique, and it stands out right away, and it's just the way Shaft does it, like. They're, like you said, their framing and their shots, and it's really like no other. It's just so dynamic, and
it's so unique.
I might push back on your take that you'd love to see a live action, because I don't know how good some of these things might work. It might be weird. Yeah. You know what I mean? Like,
it might be tough. Yeah.
Because sometimes they play. I think sometimes the cool thing with Shaft is they're not afraid to go off model with their characters and make them look flipping weird sometimes, and you're like, that's not even the same person, what's going on? Or like, why are they stretched like that?
Yeah, the three of us watched the first episode together when you guys took me out for a walk a few weeks ago.
Yeah, when we took Cole for a walk, remember, Jay?
Yeah. So I figured out where my confusion was.
Jay's back.
Okay. Yeah.
Sorry, I was on a little bit of a trip there. So my confusion was Shinbo was the chief director of Monogatari. Yes. And the guy who did Vanitas was just like an assistant director on it.
Yeah. And another assistant director was the guy who did Call of the Night.
Yeah.
They were like leached off of him.
And
create like I don't know. Shaft just seems like just a powerhouse of creating directors.
Oh my goodness, Cole! I just looked up the two producers on this show too, and it's like this show was literally made by like all your favorite people. One of the producers also did Code Geass, Yona of the Dawn, Panty Stalking, bunch of great stuff there. And then I click on the other producer, Shinichi Nakamura, and he did Your Lie in April, or not Your Lie in April, A Silent Voice, Violet Evergarden, Clannad, Miss Kobayashi's Dragon Maid, K-On!
Okay, so obviously from Kyoto Animation.
Sound Euphonium. Yeah.
No, I mean, this show's really good, guys. But
you just said you didn't think it was that good.
I mean, in this area.
Okay.
In this area.
No, definitely this area is probably like the best area.
This is like we said,
part of the show.
Yeah, I'm sorry.
The reason to watch the show.
Just you guys took me out for a walk, and we watched the first episode, and there was that shot where main girl and the boy who has a crush on her are sitting at the desk, and the camera is like panning up from underneath the table. You don't see that with other studios. They're the only ones who like will take the time to animate camera perspective moving over somebody.
That's a great take, actually, Cole, because like lots of shows do the panning shot because it's just cheap and easy, right? Whereas Shaft, a lot of the time they do it because it's cool, and then they also change the perspective. I'd never actually thought of it that way. They animate
the camera.
Yeah.
And it's cool. Like, man, they take the time, and it pays off. And I don't know, some people might say, "Oh, that looks weird," like because like they look like they're all stretched and like in different proportions. But it's like
it's part of the charm, though.
It's part of the charm, and you have to understand how much effort went into that. Like,
I think that a lot of people look at like off model or like animation smears or like things like in that wheelhouse is like bad when like. No, that's like using that kind of thing. Using that kind of thing is an assistant to be able to make good animation and stylized animation.
From the West, I mean, there's famous like look up like Simpsons motion blur on Google, and they have to animate the motion blur so it makes the characters look like they're all like Homer's eyes will be like stretched out and stuff like that, because they took the time to animate what would normally be a byproduct of film. And it's just, it's I love Shaft. I love Shaft so much.
It makes film nerds like Cole go nuts when they see stuff like that. And
what about
really is
like? Do you guys have anything else before I move on to our next
No,
topic?
I think we've raved enough. Let's.
Yeah,
I think this next
covered.
one's.
Yeah.
Okay, voice acting. What did you guys think of voice acting?
At first, you know what? I kind of found the main girl's voice actor. What's her name?
Chiaki
Hotori, done by Chiaki Omigawa. I kind of found her voice a little annoying, and I think that might have been the point. The more I watch the show, is like because she is an annoying person, and I think it fits her.
It's a unique voice too. Like her voice kind of cracks often, which I like. I like a voice that does that. Other than that, I mean, I find it funny that like the head maid is played by a guy. That's funny.
That is funny, yeah.
The old
Classic
lady
grandpa
yeah.
voice, yeah.
But other than that, like it's a pretty standard fare. Like there's those two standouts for me for being unique and different. But other than that, like everybody else is pretty standard.
For me, and you guys were there for my reaction to this. The math teacher is voiced by one of my favorite seiyuu. Tomokazu Sugita. And
when we were watching this show, like Jay heard a voice and he was like, "Oh my god, is that?" And then he went like he did a couple minutes ago and just dove into his phone. We didn't hear from Jay until he discovered the answer. He's like, "It is." And then we're like, "What's up?" And then he's like, "And
it's
Sugita.
Yeah.
It
was a hype moment.
It was very
hype. Yeah, Jay was very pleased with himself.
I was very
literally lost his mind.
Sugita's great, man. I love.
What else has he done?
Sugita.
Like, what do you love him in?
He's Gintaki and Gintama. He's like the voice in Rudeus's head, like not Rudeus, but like the narrator,
the old
I guess.
Guy? The original Rudeus.
The Japanese voice actor for Joseph Joestar. Part 2 Joseph Joestar.
Okay.
And others that I probably am forgetting at the moment, but those are the ones that stand out.
Okay.
Yeah.
The math teacher's great, by the way.
Yes.
Math teacher is great.
We'll talk about characters.
Sugita
after.
There.
Yeah.
Just the sound of the show in general.
The sound of the show. I mean, again, Chef does a good job with like sound design, but it's pretty like standard fare.
Yeah, like we said, like the visuals are really what stands out in this show, and honestly, not that much else. Maybe the characters you could argue, but like the sound design like wasn't bad by any means.
No, I mean it was serviceable. It did what it had to do. But I mean, like this isn't an action show, right? Like, it's not like whoa, that explosion sounds great. Like SAO, I'll say it forever. SAO is king of sound design. Like their sounds in it are incredible, but that's because it's an action show, so it can do that. This is not that.
They did a good job though of capturing like the zaniness of it and stuff. Like that episode 2 where it's like talking all about the dog. Like there's some good stuff in there. Or like the very last episode when all that stuff is going on. Like they did definitely like at least match the vibe, and the sound is not. It's not something that takes away from the show, and it just doesn't really add a ton, I guess is what I'd say.
Yeah. I also did think that the score was pretty good. Like I wouldn't say like it's like knock out of the park amazing, but like I feel like the music in the show did fit situations that they were in.
Yeah.
Though that being said, I couldn't name a single song aside from like the insert that they did with the concert.
Yeah,
like
same.
I guess we should talk about like the performance, the concert stuff, right? Because they do sing a good chunk in this show. That's not really spoilers to talk about like the actual singing and stuff in there.
Oh, okay, yeah. Like, well, okay, yeah. The characters at the end they sing the ED.
Yeah.
So, I don't know.
It was fine. I don't know.
Yeah.
You could tell it was them singing, which is good. It's just
Yeah.
bizarre what they're singing about.
I mean, the show itself is a little bizarre, and
Yeah.
to its whether that be to its credit or its detriment is kind of up to the viewer. But
It is a bizarre adventure, right?
it is bizarre.
It is. It is a very bizarre adventure.
Which actually brings up a good point that I'll kind of save for now and talk about it when we're talking about our recommendations.
Okay.
Okay.
Spoiler-free thoughts.
So our recommendations?
So our recommendations?
Yeah.
I guess.
It's
Well, do you
kinda
have
the
any
same thing. Yeah.
final thoughts, spoiler-free, and then we can go into recommendations?
Oh, okay. Jay, you go first.
Okay. So I guess I can talk about it now because
Yeah.
we're recommending things. Would you say that like people who like JoJo's because of how bizarre it can be would like this show? Because like they both are a bit bizarre.
I mean, if you like JoJo's because of how bizarre it is, but I think
Yeah.
most people like JoJo's because it's like there's action
Yeah.
and
There's more
Well, at
going
the
on
same-
in JoJo's.
zany-
Yeah,
Yes.
yeah.
Yeah.
It's also kind of like if you like people like JoJo's because it's JoJo's.
Mm-hmm.
You know, like not because of any particular thing about it.
It's the whole package, right?
Yeah. But like if you do like the zaniness of JoJo's, this is also zany, but
I think Gintama would probably be a better recommendation as far
don't
as
know.
zaniness goes.
I don't know. I feel like Gintama's a bit more meta than this
Yeah,
is.
but I mean, like, this is just a pure comedy,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
JoJo's, I feel like it's not.
It's more shown in action.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. This is.
Yeah.
I mean, like, an obvious recommendation would be Nichijou.
Yeah.
Sure.
For
I
sure.
don't know enough about it, but it just seems like kind of the same vibe. I kind of like for my final spoiler-free thoughts, I think there's enough here that it's worth watching. Like you're not going to have a terrible time with this show. I don't think you're really going to hate it. You could hate it if you're like me, and I was a little worried because I think I've become more numb to like the anime screaming and stuff like that. Because this is one of those shows where like the characters are just always yelling and they're always, and the main character girl does have kind of an annoying voice. But maybe I've become more numb to it. I think part of this show too is it appeals to like the hardcore anime fan. Like this is a very anime show. Like if you just show this show to just a random Marvel fan or something, they're like, "What the hell is going on? Why are they flying through the air? Why is this teenager girl's panties always being shown under her maid dress? Why are they all dressed like maids? Why do they keep like what's with the zany antics?" It's a very zany show, and for that, I think it needs it though, because it's kind of shafts their thing, right? That's what they do.
Yeah.
I do think that it's worth watching. I think people who like this show, or if you like any of these other shows, I think you'd probably also like it. I think Tatami Galaxy is a good recommendation here. Tatami Galaxy's better. Don't get me wrong. It has more meaning to it. Whereas I felt like this show its biggest problem with it is it didn't really have much meaning to me. Like there wasn't. I know you guys are going to say, oh, but it's a slice of life. It doesn't need meaning. There still should be like some kind of message overall. And like you should have learned something from watching it. And I guess the last episode kind of gives you a little bit of that. But that's just probably my personal preference about the slice of life thing is that you're not watching this and getting anything out of it other than kind of like a few cheap laughs and chuckles and cool animation. That's really what you're looking for here. I don't know about JoJo's as a recommendation, but there are definitely there are shows that would suit it better. I think if you're just like a Shaft junkie like Cole, if you just love Shaft, like this is for you.
I was gonna say Monogatari.
Monogatari is the
Yeah. Another one, like I look at the recommendations off of AniList because my brain doesn't work sometimes, and Azumanga Daioh would be one for sure. Like it's kind of that. Jay, another one. I know you don't like it, but Lucky Star would be one.
Yeah.
That
honestly,
I would
now
recommend.
That you say that,
yeah, just that type of humor in it. But yeah, probably Monogatari. Like if you like Monogatari, I think you'd probably like this.
Yeah,
it's not as mystery based, but it's similar humor. Like it's very
I
like
think
word
that Monogatari
punny and
Monogatari is also better. Like, don't get either of us wrong.
well, story wise, sure.
Yeah,
but I'm talking just strictly from like the joke style.
Sure.
This show, I think one thing to note is that I think we're all in agreement here. There's a lot of things that it's like, and this is probably not something you'd ever recommend to somebody as their first or like even their 15th anime they've watched.
No.
There's much better things that you could watch instead. Go watch either of those things we just mentioned. They're way better. But this is, if you've already watched those, this is something else you could also enjoy. You know, sometimes you've already had your nice big bowl of soup and it's been tasty, but then you just need like a little sweet something after.
If you kind of want to like continue to ride that wave, like you've started riding that wave and you want to continue that wave because you're just on a kick, this'll help you along with that.
This'll do it.